Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the October 21st meeting of the Fall River Sewer Commission. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Okay, we all have the agenda that's been sent to us. Mr. Furlan, will you do the roll call, please?
Yes, so President Almeida,
Present.
Commissioner Souza,
Here.
Commissioner Bernia,
Present.
and welcome back, Commissioner Howiak.
Present.
Okay, we all have the agendas. Before we get started on the first item, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Renee Howiak back to the Sewer Commission Board. It was a good thing to see her to come back. Renee has served on the board for a number of years with me, and she is a welcome sight at this point in time, and we're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Having said all that, this takes us to the first item on the agenda, which is citizens' input. It's my understanding that there's no one here for citizen input. Am I correct?
Nobody
Alright.
has signed up for citizens input,
Alright.
correct?
Item number 2, minutes of the previous meeting. As usual is the case, the minutes of the previous meeting had been sent to us electronically. I'm hoping you've had a chance to review it. If not, take the opportunity now. If you have no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting held on October 7th, 2020.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that takes us to item number 3, Stormwater Fee Assessment Appeals. This is probably a continuation of what the previous meeting held on October 7th, in which we listened to stormwater appeals. It's my understanding that there were 4 individuals that were supposed to show up to appeal their assessment, and it appears that just one individual is here. I'm going to ask that individual, who I believe is Mr. Carsten Horn.
Yes.
That you're correct?
That's
Okay, when you address the commission, I'd like to state your name and your address.
Okay. My name is
Go ahead, the
Carsten
floor
Horn.
is yours.
Sorry?
The floor is yours.
Okay. So my name is Carsten Horn. I live in 50 Flores Way in Fall River here in Massachusetts. I'm connected to South Watapa Pond, so I'm directly on the water down there. Thank you for having me and hearing me. I need to admit, I had appealed because I had a few questions that I couldn't answer, and I'm missing a little bit of information. I researched a little bit the internet to find out, but wasn't really successful out there. So what I didn't understand is, or didn't understood is, you asked for a fee for stormwater out there, and that you argue that you have invested into dams and stuff like that on South Watapa Pond. And I was looking up what is about the other people who are surrounded the lake, what is their share on that money if you invested? For example, Westport and Tiverton.
Well, right now, I believe what we're concerned about is people that are on Fall River property. And I can understand your concern about what's happening, you know, that there are other residents from other towns that live on the pond as well. But at this point in time, we're dealing strictly with Fall River residents.
But you know, Westport has 16 outfalls for stormwater directly to the lake. Tiverton has 4 outfalls, and one is pretty close to my house. It's pretty much my neighbor. It's coming down Cherry Lane down there. It's coming from Tiverton. So I was wondering, okay, they also use the same property, the same water reservoir. What is also going for stormwater would the city of Fall River need to protect? So I was wondering, okay, they should carry also their share for that, correct?
No, that's a valid point, but I believe, Paul, we don't have any agreement with other municipalities with respect to stormwater at this point, am I correct?
Correct. At this point, the City of Fall River and the ordinance of the City of Fall River only states that the stormwater fee is eligible for Fall River residents. It does not state any other towns or states that we're eligible to charge the stormwater fee on. In the future, there may be something where we could look at whether Tiverton or Westport, whether it could be eligible. That gets difficult because of jurisdictional lines. The Fall River Sewer Commission currently has jurisdiction within the City of Fall River. It doesn't have jurisdiction within the towns of Westport or the state of Rhode Island, which is Tiverton.
So if I turn it around, you expect me to pay for the invest the City of Fall River to the body, to the water body, to make it safe, and my neighbors don't.
At this point in time, yeah. What we're looking at is stormwater infiltrating into the pond
Yes.
that comes off your property that we're dealing with at this point. Now, in the future, it's something I think we might have thought about in the past, but I don't know as to whether we're in a position at this point in time to address other municipalities. I hope you understand that the purpose of this fee is to recoup the costs that we encounter for managing the pond in terms of how much water is there, what has to be let out when there's major rainstorms and things of that nature. And the equipment that we deal with to do that has to be addressed and has to be maintained. That's I guess the nut of the piece.
So the one other thing about 50 Flores Way, if you actually look up on the TV screen too,
Yes.
you'll notice Flores Way in the bottom left-hand corner, 50 Flores Way. The yellow lines that are up there are underground drainage pipes. The square boxes are catch basins. Those are maintained by us. They are cleaned out once every 4 years by our NIPD's permit. There's also manholes that are in there. There's a swale, I believe, that runs in between your house and your neighbor's house to the north.
Yes.
That these catch basins drain out to, and then it goes down into the pond. So it's not with your houses, in particular, it's not only South Watuppa Pond. There is other stormwater infrastructure within that area as well.
Correct. It has an ease on my property, and I need to take care on that trench down there, so I have to clean it out a few times a year to keep it in shape. That's what I do. So I already carry some of that load because the city's not paying for that. I do that. Correct?
Yep. So the
Is
swale.
this something that's on your property you're talking about?
Yes, it's on my property. I have an ease on my property, and so I had to share that with my neighbor to take care on this stormwater trench that I had to clean out. If otherwise it's getting grown over if you don't take care of that. So that's something. And by the way, it carries the water that's also coming down the hill from Tiverton.
Right, so there's a stormwater swale in between the two properties, as with all of our swales. We don't go out there to aesthetically maintain them. We go out there to maintain their capacity and their flow. If they want to be aesthetically maintained, that would be by the property owners that abut those. That's how we treat all swales like that.
Okay.
If there is a blockage or a collapse or a major issue with that swale, we would respond and correct an issue like that.
Yeah, would make sense, that would be the case. Mr. Hunt, you understand that this is something that's taken place as a result of an ordinance change that was done back in 2011, and that we're only, at this point in time now, catching up to the people who are living on Lake Avenue and Flores Way and so forth. So there's been, I guess you could say, a 9-year grace period for you, where this particular fee has not been imposed on you. So
I think normally you take that fee with your sewer fees, correctly? I'm not hooked up to the sewer. I still on a septic system have
Right.
my own well. So
Right.
so for example, my other neighbor who's hooked up to the sewer system, he pays the stormwater fee.
Pays stormwater fee, and he also
Yes.
pays a sewer fee if he's
Yes,
hooked up
sure.
into the city system.
Yes, exactly. That's
Right,
what it is.
which we would expect. In your particular case where like you say, you have a septic system,
Mhm.
you have a well,
Yes,
we own water, okay, so we're dealing with the stormwater that comes off your property, which we have a right to do based on ordinance that was established back in 2011. So is there anything else you want to add?
no, I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
I have a
thank you.
question. On our paperwork, do we have to have this corrected? This gentleman's name is not listed on this paperwork.
It's on the bottom.
Yeah, he signed down the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
On the bottom.
I realize it was made out to a Bradford Mellow.
Right.
That's the
Is that,
pre-owner 4 years ago.
oh, okay, all right, so you are the present, existing owner.
I'm at the
Okay, I
moment.
guess we need to change our records on that.
Okay.
Um,
It's gonna be changed.
All right, does anybody have any questions? Okay, I think this is, again, I hate to say it, pretty straightforward in the sense of what we need to do here. I'll entertain a motion to deny the appeal by Mr. Carsten Horn with regard to stormwater fee at 50 Flores Way. Anybody want to make that motion?
Make a motion to deny the
Anyone else second
stormwater
that?
fee.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Thank you, sir. Sorry to
All right,
work to that point, but
thank you.
Now you like us.
Excellent.
all
Thank you very
right.
much. We don't mind if
No.
we leave. All right.
Go right ahead. Thank you.
Paul, should we deal with the other three and basically deny them at this point? I think it's the right thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that is up to the board that the three other people that were listed on the agenda, the updated agenda,
Right.
did call and confirm that they were going to be here. They were aware of the time and the location, so.
Okay, and you are aware of the new time?
Yep, Caitlin Gauthier from
Okay.
my office spoke with all of them.
Okay, so I think I think in the past, when there's been a no-show, we deal with the appeal accordingly. Does anybody have any objections to that?
No, I agree with it. I had a list here of more than just three, so I don't know what you want to do.
Well, I don't know if those other people that are on your list, besides the ones that are here, if they have formal appeals in.
So
I mean, I had that list, so I didn't know how many,
But
Yep.
do they have formal appeals in with
I
it?
don't know.
All right,
So they did have the appeals, but they didn't return a call to be at the meeting today.
Yeah,
Those are
so
people that have showed interest.
we do have other appeals that are pending. We've tried to contact and reach out and work with some of those people scheduling wise. I expect by the next board meeting, if we're not able to work anything out, there'll be a list of all of those people on the agenda, and we can deal with them as they
okay,
go.
so,
But these were the only ones that were scheduled
Okay.
and confirmed.
so why don't we, if it's okay with the members of the board, why don't we address, we did Mr. Horn, why don't you address the other three, Diane Smith,
Michelle?
Ethan Smith, and Michelle Charette. I guess we have to deal with those individually, do we not?
That would be, I feel that would be the best way, just
Okay.
procedurally.
On that basis there, we've taken one at a time. I'll entertain a motion to deny the appeal for Diane Smith for Captain's Circle. Anybody want to make that motion?
Make a motion, we deny Ethan Smith.
No,
So,
Diane Smith. We're going one at a time. Diane Smith, the second one on the list.
Oh, yes, Diane Smith, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Diane Smith, Simmons Lane, reference the 4 Captain Circle residents to deny the stormwater fee.
Anybody want to second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none. With respect to the appeal by Ethan Smith of 2 Captain's Circle, will someone make a motion to deny the appeal?
Make a motion.
Second,
All in favor? Aye, opposed, none. And finally, the appeal from Ms.
Michelle.
Michelle L. Charette of 470 Captain's Circle. Anybody want to make a motion for denial?
Make a motion, denial, Captain 470, Captain Circle, Michelle Charette.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you. All right, that takes us to item number 4, the Route 24 culvert crossing. This is a contract that I guess is being done with what, Mass DOT? Is it,
Yes,
Terry?
correct.
I mean, no, I'm sorry, Paul, I'm thinking of Terry.
So,
The thing I read through the paperwork on it, and, I guess the question I got is, one, when is this going to happen? Do you have a date yet?
we don't have a set date yet. We're still working with DOT and the contract is scheduling.
Okay.
It is planned for this fall before the winter moratorium, though.
All right, so this is going to be,
Soon.
this is going to be a pretty invasive project that's going to be done, over a long weekend?
That's what the scheduling from the contractor and DOT has proposed. It's a weekend shutdown of the Route 24. If you want, I can just give you a little history. Up on the slide, you'll see the Hyacinth Street South project.
This is the tie-in to all that. We're at the point now where the Hyacinth Street projects are done.
Yep.
Now we got to take what flows out of there, find a home for it on the other side of the highway,
Correct.
and that, am I correct, it goes into that cement
That culvert,
culvert that runs along the highway towards the towards the pond?
Yep. Down
Am I right?
down to the south with Tupper Pond.
All right,
100%
okay.
correct.
And we're looking at $577,000.
Yes.
Now, how are we going to pay for that?
So this was all part of the $123 million loan authorization that was approved by referendum ballot. It's part of the flooding project. If you look back, the whole entire Hyacinth Street project, Hyacinth North and Hyacinth South, came in right around budget. The Route 24 crossing was budgeted as a separate line item. That was budgeted at about, in the integrated plan, that is 3 years old now, that was budgeted at $1.2 million with a jack and boring underneath Route 24. We were unable to do a jack and boring due to the elevations, the shallowness that we need, plus also the material that runs through there. We weren't able to do a jack and boring, we weren't able to do a directional drilling. We looked at those 2 options so that we wouldn't disturb the highway. Those options, the cost is a lot higher, but the impact is a lot lower. What we're looking at doing here now, and again, this is going to be a change order to a Mass DOT contract. So Mass DOT is already going through and they're paving Route 24 from Freetown all the way down to 195. That's why you've seen the President Ave Rotary get paved, the on and off ramps from 195. That's part of their repaving project. So this is going to be done as a change order to their project. So we're actually going to direct pay to DOT, and then they pay their contractor. It's a standard agreement that's set up. The amount that we have a quote right now, I would request that the commission approve a not to exceed number of $577,157. As we get in there with the contractor, we'll be working to reduce that number if it can be reduced at all. The one thing that this does save us, as you said, this is going to be a weekend shutdown of Route 24. Route 24 has excellent areas to be able to detour directly off of Route 24. The detour is going to start trying to shed traffic off 79 to bring them to 195. So as we know, that's a good corridor to be able to get traffic through that area. The second corridor that we have for the shorter detail for people that don't shed off onto 79 will be to have them get off at President Ave Rotary, go all the way down Eastern Avenue, and then get right back on 24. They can either go north or south, but they're on the other side of 195, so if they wanted to get on 195, they take 24 north and then onto 195 east or west from there.
So-
Okay,
So we have really good, Eastern Avenue is a two-lane, high capacity roadway through the city. It's a little bit slower, but it is a good way to be able to get through. So what we're looking is an open cut across Route 24 with two 36-inch pipes that'll be running. We'll have head walls on the upstream side and on the downstream side. Future maintenance of these culverts will be shared between ourselves and Mass DOT, because Mass DOT, when Mass DOT put in Route 24 back in the 50s, 60s, it was a perfect blockade for water to get from one side to the other. So they also have the issue with their water shedding off, coming down and puddling in areas.
so they're gonna tie into the 30-inch?
So they're gonna benefit from this as well.
Yeah.
So.
You don't see any problem with capacity or flow of what's gonna go in? I mean, a 30-inch pipe is a pretty big pipe.
Oh, yeah, it is a very large pipe. Downstream capacity from there, it will go into our interceptor drain and then
Right.
to South Watuppa. Since we've cleaned the interceptor drain, as we did with the Crestbrook project, we cleaned the whole entire interceptor drain and cleaned back from the edges. That drain has worked phenomenally. You always used to see maybe a foot of water in there or so. Now, you're talking inches at the bottom of that,
Good.
bottom of that interceptor drain. And once we get rain, it used to linger a while in the interceptor drain. Now, it's gone fairly quickly, so I'm not worried about any downstream capacity at all.
All right, for my benefit, what I was trying to visualize was, I'm assuming they're gonna start from the south side and work their way across. When I say the south side, the west side, work their way across. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Now, when they go through the lane that goes south, right?
yep.
Are they going to have a diversion before it for people to go
The-
around or something, or that road is completely shut down till the weekend?
That route, so their plan is to do one side, so they'll start, if they start with the southbound lane, they'll fully close the southbound lane, they'll put people off on President Avenue.
Okay.
Down to, Eastern Avenue down to 24. Then when they get across there, they'll close the northbound lane, they'll go back to paving, and this is gonna be a 24/7 operation. They're gonna
Right.
have multiple crews, they're gonna work 24 hours a day, not 24/7, but they'll work 24 hours a day straight through the weekend. Mass DOT has very tight restrictions on when they can actually close on Friday and when it needs to be open Monday morning. So it's not even gonna be a long weekend, it won't be
Yeah.
a holiday weekend.
Right,
won't
I can
be-
see why.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting project. There's savings that we're finding working with Mass DOT in conjunction with them as a change order to their project with traffic management and their signage and stuff like that. So that's why this is an overall benefit. We're getting it done before they go in there to do their repaving of the roadway. So we'll do base pavement and then a temporary top when they come through and mill the whole entire project. And then it'll be one smooth layer all the way over.
They did that on 195 for Swansea.
For the Swansea Water Treatment Plant,
Right.
the desalination plant, correct.
Right, yeah. There is still a bump on the highway.
There is still a bump, and it's, I feel that because they you know, it wasn't repaved afterwards,
Yeah.
you know. This one, that's why it's good to get it done now, because then they'll repave and there'll be no bump.
So it's gonna be almost about a 50% savings then from what was originally projected.
Yes, yep, from what was originally projected for the cost of a jacking and boring operation, yeah, this is about a 50% savings.
Paul, is Keating doing the majority of the other parts of the roadway that's set up for DOT to do? In other words, it's just, are they tying into the whole thing?
Yeah, so PJ Keating is the general contractor for the DOT project. KR Resendes is one of their sub doing the drainage work. So the pipe crossing and the heavy construction work will be done by Keating in this change order. Will be done by KR Resendes in this change order. But Keating will be doing the paving and traffic management and stuff like that.
Okay. It says, from what I can see, having read this, details for police and so forth, safety signs, blah, blah, reflectorized drums, so forth and so on. That's not included?
Yeah, so
Who's paying for that?
again, that's stuff that we're working with DOT to so that the costs will be shared. And again, that's
All
some
right,
of,
so
that's
would
some
you
of the-
anticipate those costs to come on later, or?
No, at this point, I don't anticipate those costs. I anticipate those are part of the DOT contract already, so that's a
Okay.
savings to us.
That'd be good,
Correct.
if that works that way. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty challenging weekend, that weekend.
Yeah, and we'll work with DOT and the contractors to make sure that we get notification out to the residents and the people ahead of time, so that they are aware of the weekend that this does occur.
Now, the dotted lines, is that something is the structure already there, or is that included in the weekend?
So the dotted lines that you see up on the screen is the Overland Flow.
Oh, I see.
So the red pipes through here are the new pipes that were installed in the Hyacinth Street South project. Comes down through the lot. These are the BPMs, so those depressions that you see with the grate. That's for stormwater to be able to infiltrate into those areas to reduce the amount of stormwater that goes through. This dotted line here is Overland Flow. So we have a head wall over here where the pipe comes out, and then the water will flow over the land, go into another head wall. This was an earlier rendering, but the head wall is actually going to be back this way a little bit more. Go overland into this head wall, across underneath, and then into our interceptor drain.
All right, so those dotted line there, there's nothing that's going to be done with respect to that weekend on that piece of.
No, once the new head wall is installed with the new pipe, the water will just flow overland
All
that
right.
way.
Sounds good. All right, so what you're looking for an approval to
Not exceed.
move forward on this?
Yes, and not to exceed.
Question?
All right, okay.
Oh, we have a question.
Shoot.
Paul, what's the GPH flow? That's gonna sit, in other words, that water's gonna sit on the line,
Sit on which line?
the dotted line?
No, so that's already a semi-channeled area. The natural flow does go that way.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't have an outlet right now.
Oh.
So, and that's part of the problem. It'll naturally flow that way, but then it backs up because it doesn't have a pipe to go to cross 24. So that's why we get the flooding in those backyards and the lower area of there.
And this is the most cost-effective way to get rid of this flow? Instead of going back through Hyacinth and back in towards Northeastern Avenue?
Yeah, so the elevations, to try to bring this, there would be no way to go back towards Northeastern Avenue. It would have to be a pump station, a stormwater pump station.
So this would be the best way? Okay.
Yeah, most
Thank you.
economical.
Paul, if we established easements to get to every point that we need to right now, is there easements in place?
So we own the lot where the pipes are in the BPMs. So we own that lot. We currently have a gravel road that goes down the center. The next slide, actually.
Yeah, I remember we bought that property.
Yep, so this is a picture of that property now that we've completed it. We have the gravel road going down the center, and in the back there is it right where the head wall will be that will cross Route 24. We're actually gonna give Mass DOT, because Mass DOT through the design process had concern about being able to access that because it's a shared maintenance in the future. So we're gonna give them an easement to travel across our lot to be able to maintain it, so they don't have to do any turn off of the highway. On the opposite side of the highway, the east side of the highway, that's property that's owned by the water department, and that's right where the interceptor drain is, so we do have full access to that area as well.
Okay, very good. Anybody else have any other questions?
No?
No, you're all set. Okay, that being the case, I think we need, naturally, we're gonna move forward on this, because this is the final leg of a big project that's been going on for quite some time, so I'll entertain a motion to approve, I guess you could say, approve the project cost of not to exceed $577,000 with the Mass DOT. Anybody want to make that motion?
Make a motion?
Anybody second?
A second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none. Okay,
Thank you.
just let us know when that's moving.
Yes, I will, definitely.
Okay, that takes us to item number 5, the Hyacinth Street Drainage Project. From what I can gather from the paperwork, this is the, I would hope to be the final change order on this project, am I correct?
Yes, correct, this is.
Okay, and judging from what I can see on the paperwork, that after the change orders has been established and set up and identified, there's going to be a credit of approximately $81,000 to the cost, to the original cost of the project, am I correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, that's a good thing. I think we can all agree to that.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions with respect to this?
So just a little bit about the project. The project, as you said, is coming to a completion. The Route 24 crossing is the final part to this whole entire project. The Hyacinth Street North area, which you can see up on the screen now, so you just saw pictures of the completed Hyacinth Street South. This is the Hyacinth Street North. This has a pipe already that crosses Route 24. That's why we didn't need to do anything up in this area. That's the outfall area in the rear of this, of the Hyacinth Street North project. So there were some changes that we requested. The back fence next to the Route 24, easement was something that was in poor condition once we got out there, intermingled with a lot of growth and stuff like that. So we opted to be able to change that fence out and install a new one. The grass.
Can I interrupt you a second? Do we plan on putting signs up on these perimeter fences? You know, basically is saying like, keep out, this is property of the Florida Sewer Commission or the Mass DOT or something of that nature? Is it?
It's something that we can look at. We don't have that in the plans, but we can look at.
I think, you know, there's always somebody that's always floating around those, in the woods behind there and all that stuff. People are just, you know, looking for whatever.
Yep.
I think we ought to have something on it that says, hey, keep out.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No. Definitely. I will look into that, and I will get something. We do recently have locks on the gates.
Yeah.
The maintenance division just put out there. So a couple of things. We're working with the contractor, CN Corp, very good contractor to work with. The grass on both sites, north and south, right now is after this summer that we had was kind of tough to grow grass. So the contractor has agreed to come back in the spring and fertilize and reseed so that we do get good grass growth throughout the whole entire project. So again, as you said, there are a couple of minor changes within here. There were some changes throughout the project that were made at the request of some of the neighbors. They didn't like a swale running down the side of their house, so we did extend some pipes out and run it back a bit more, and shorten up the swale that was originally proposed. But overall, the project, both north and south, have come out good, and I believe most of the residents within the area are happy that the projects are complete.
Have you heard real good positive feedback from the neighborhood? I mean, we haven't had that much rain or whatever, but.
Yeah, we haven't had much rain. I've gotten some calls from some of the neighbors about the grass and stuff like that. Most of the neighbors dealt with the flooding. Again, as you said, this is a long-running issue. I think maybe 2014 is when it started coming around.
Yeah, I remember.
So flooding in 2010 and 2012 definitely flooded these streets out. And that's kind of when it started to get looked at with the support of the referendum ballot and the commission and the council. We were able to get the funding to be able to do these projects, which will be a great improvement for that neighborhood. A couple of weeks ago, to let the commission know, I was in front of the real estate committee. There were some people that felt that these lots should be sold to private people for houses to be built on them. I feel that these should not be sold. They're the low points of a large drainage area that flooded out in the past. The design of these structures, as the commission knows, is to a certain rainstorm. This is a 5 and 10 year storm out there primarily. If we get anything larger than that, there is overland channels that we designed within the project to be able to allow the water to flow over the land. If we get a 100-year storm, these systems are not designed to take that capacity no matter what we do. We'd be talking giant culverts like they have the aqueducts like they have in Los Angeles, and that's not what people want in these areas. Plus, we wouldn't be able to afford to build those types of structures.
Did the real estate committee act on any of it?
The committee itself agreed with my opinion. I did a PowerPoint presentation for them.
I saw parts of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to the part where what they ended up deciding.
The ending was the two committee members agreed that they should not be sold, but they tabled the matter.
Good. Very good. Okay, so with respect to this change order number 3 on the Hyacinth Street drainage improvement, unless anybody has any questions or comments we want to make about it, I'll entertain a motion to approve change order number 3, which results in a credit of $81,175.21 to the cost of the project.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to contract updates.
So just with,
We also have another change order to deal with, Paul. It appears in the package here. Change order number 1 that results basically in a net change of 0 to the contract price, but it's by right price. Is that part of the contract updates?
so that's right. That's part of the contract updates. This was administratively approved by myself, as the board has voted to give me the ability to approve any change orders under 10% of the contract.
All right, so
do
you need for us to approve it?
I don't need a vote on this. Again, this is an update so that the board is aware of what's going on.
It's a good thing, though, isn't it? It's a credit.
Yep. It's a zero. It's a net zero change on the project. There was some increases and some decreases, and it's change order number 1 for the South End Pump Station.
Okay. So
So
you have a contract update with respect to the wastewater treatment facility, contract number 2?
Yep, so we had a meeting just 2 weeks ago where we talked a lot about update of contract 1. So I figured I'd forego the contract 1 update and give you a little bit of an update on the contract 2, which is a contract that is under design right now. It's follow-up to the contract 1 work. We're planning on bidding this starting in the late winter. So that we'll be able to be under contract by next fall.
But what we're talking about here is strictly with consultant.
Correct. Right. So all we have is consultant. We don't have any contractor on board yet.
Okay.
We're at 60% design right now. That was just submitted and reviewed by my office. We had some workshops. Also, plant staff were involved in those. Contract 2 has evolved from what it originally was. So, contract 1, we're demolishing the incinerator building. We're upgrading all the electrical systems, dealing with some of the PSA issues, the Pure Rock system. Contract 2 is going to get into some of the reconstruction, really. We're looking at reconstructing. So one of the big things that we really have to deal with is our sludge and sludge dewatering. Our belt filter presses are from the 70s and 80s, long outlived their lifetime. The gravity thickeners are from prior to that. So we're going to go through, fully rehab the gravity thickeners. We currently have 3 online and 1 spare. We're going to put 2 gravity thickeners. Then we're going to use the other 2 gravity thickeners. We're going to rehab those for sludge storage, both waste activated sludge and also primary sludge. So that's going to be a great help for us to be able to get some of the water out of our sludge, send it out on the trucks thicker to be able to get some savings there. The other thing that we're going to be doing is working within the solids handling building. We'll be putting in new belt filter presses. Those will be above the loading area. Those will drop and load directly into trailers.
Excuse me, did you say filter presses?
Belt filter presses.
Belt filter, okay, not plate and frame filter presses.
No.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Good.
Yep.
You don't want to get near, I don't think you want to go to plate and frames.
No, not for the amount, not for the volume that we do. So those that's being worked in. I think there was a great savings on that. We were able to develop a large amount of savings, I feel, on this project with some of the odor control. We're looking at point source odor controls rather than doing odor control for a full dewatering building. We're looking to do hooded facilities where we take the odor out right where it's generated rather than doing the full building. That was a huge cost savings. That allowed us to do some other things. So where the incinerator building now is being demolished, it's always planned for a new building there. It was going to be control room, enclosed tanker loading, as well as the belt filter presses were supposed to go there. We found a new spot to put them on top of where they'll drop right into the trailers. So that opened up an area for us. Contract 3 the work that didn't make it into contract 2 that was cut early on just because of cost was rehabilitation of our admin building, addition for a new laboratory and stuff like that. With the space savings that we were able to find through some innovative thinking on contract 2 in that area that was supposed to be for the belt filter presses, that we're going to be putting in a new laboratory in that building. We're also doing new locker rooms for the staff, and those will be on the lower level of that building. So the lower level, rather than not utilizing it. We're gonna be utilizing it for the locker rooms and changing areas. We're also gonna be putting a second floor on that building, which will be new operations and collections department offices. And that is gonna save us on a couple of other long-term things. We won't have to put an addition onto the admin building. The admin building will stay its existing size and just be a rehab rather than having to almost double the size of the admin building. We won't have to build a separate office facility for the collections division. It'll be worked into this building. So I think through the whole entire design, we're getting a really lot of bang for our buck in the contract too. So just kind of wanted to update the commission on that. Again, we're planning to be at December, 90% plans, bid out and start in March. The bidding process that is required is almost a 3-month process. For DCAM projects over $10 million, you have to pre-qualify the contractors, then go through a full bidding process with sub-bidders and general contractors. So just the bidding is a lengthy process.
Okay. Let me ask you something here. With respect to this paperwork you gave us, this is in reference to design and bidding services by CDM, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. It shows an original price of almost $1.5 million. And then we have approved amendments that in effect double it. And it raised the total contract price up to $4.5 million.
Yes.
Can you just refresh my memory, just in layman's terms, as to what predicated the increase from the original price of $1.5 million?
Yeah, so the original design contract that we had with them brought us only up to the 30% design. So that was, so we anticipated, when we initially did the contract, we anticipated that we were gonna have to do a change to get through the full design. We knew once we got to the 30%, we'd be able to tell whether we'd be able to afford to do the admin building, whether that needed to be, added back in or taken out, or what we were doing with that. So that was anticipated from the beginning, that there would be the increase. The initial contract brought us up to 30%. The contract that we have now brings us up through bidding.
Up to how much?
It brings us up through the bidding of the project.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to remind you too, this project is, the construction estimate for this project is about $40 million.
Right. No, I understand it's a big nickel.
Yeah.
Okay. This is for information purposes at this point in time, correct?
Correct.
All right. Does anybody have any questions with regard to the subject or want to add to it? I guess that takes us to, if we can move on, item number 7, other business. If anybody has any other business they want to discuss? If not, I'll obtain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Anybody want a second?
Second?
Motion, I like a motion, you can second it.
Made the motion, you second it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you, people. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.